Good afternoon, everybody. I had a couple people ask a question about how to correctly put powers of 10 into your calculators. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to use a Texas Instrument calculator, which has what many of you have. It has that second button. On a lot of things, it is written as EE. A lot of times it's above the comma button. Or I'm going to use also a scientific calculator that I have that has an EXP button, which some of you have on your calculator, which it does it a little bit differently. So I'm just going to show that to you in both ways. So first off, just going to kind of do, for example, also a math problem. So doing a proportion. So for example, you're doing like moles and grams calculations and conversions. So one of the questions might be something like, we have 25 grams of B2SO3, and how do we get that into molecules? How do we know how many molecules we have there? Well, what we need to remember is that if you have grams, periodic table allows us to get that to moles, and so we're going to then convert that to molecules once we have moles. So again, it's a proportion. So you're going to set up your proportion where we say, okay, what we're looking for is always on the top. So that's our X. We have 25 grams. I said, what does the question want you to find? What does the question give you? That goes on the top and the bottom left hand. And then on the periodic table, I would figure out the molar mass for this, where I say, okay, I have 2 atoms of B, I have 3 atoms of S, and 3 times 3 or 9 atoms of oxygen. And when I do that, I get this number here, where I have 261.80 grams, and that is equal to 1 mole. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into my proportion here. So I need to make sure the units line up. So if I have grams on the bottom, this grams here also then is on the bottom on the other side. So 261.80 grams. However, I do not want moles on the top because the question is asking for molecules, or number of particles. How many of this molecule do I have? So I need to remember that 1 mole of something equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And this is where that power of 10 comes in. So 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. Okay, now math-wise, I'm just doing a cross multiplying here. So this is going to end up looking like this. I'm going to have X equals 25 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd divided by 261.80. So the question that some of you are asking is, how do we do this power of 10 on our calculator so that we get the right answers? Because if you do it wrong, it can give you the wrong answer because your calculator is too dumb to know what you want it to do. And so, let's show you how to do that on a graphing calculator. Okay, I'm going to type it in like this. We're going to type in the number 25. I'm going to hit the times button. And then I'm going to type in 6.02. I'm going to hit the second button. And then on this calculator and on a lot of your calculators, it's going to be the second feature over the comma button. Okay? And then instead of typing in times or 10, I'm just going to type in the power. And then I'm going to divide that. So hit the divide button by 261.80. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my calculator. I'm going to have 25 times 6.02, second button, And then that EE button, which again is the comma for most of you. Notice how the E appears now on my calculator. That's taking the place of this times 10. Okay? And then I just type in the power. Now I can hit the divide button. And I can type in my number, 261.80. And when I get that, my answer then, put this over here, in case you can't see that very well, I'm just going to do 2 decimal points, 5.75, and then this E stands for times 10. And then I type in, or not type in, write in the number. 5.75 times 10 to the 22nd. Or on Moodle, if you're doing this on Moodle question, you can actually just type it in as an E, but you have to make sure it is a capital E, not a lowercase e. A lowercase e means something different. Okay, let's try this then with our other calculator that instead has the EXP button. Okay, so on this one, I'm still going to do 25. I'm going to hit the times button, and then I'm going to do 6.02, but instead of doing this stuff, instead I'm going to hit the button that says EXP, and then that'll give me a thing that I'm going to type in 23 on. And then I'm going to type in the divide button and then 261.80. So let's see if we get the same answer, right? Remember, we're going for 5.75 times 10 to the 22nd. So type in 25, and I type the times button, right? And then I have 6.02. I'm going to go EXP. Now notice here it changes the view a little bit. Right now this is showing you what the power of 10 is. We want to change that to a 23. I'm just going to type in 23, and when I hit divide on the calculator now, it will actually do the math for us. So see how this changed. This means 1.505 times 10 to the 25th power. Okay. Now I divide. I already hit the divide button, so I'm just going to type in 261.8, and that gives me this. Now notice, when I do my rounding, it's 5.75. This part right here means times 10 to this power, times 10 to the 22nd. Okay, so that is how you're going to type in things into your calculator. If you don't do it that way, there's a very good chance you're going to end up with the wrong answers. If that doesn't make sense, please make sure you let me know.